Howdy, good gracious family. This is a live recording from September 8th, 2018, our Good Gracious Show number 13. It was a Patsy Cline birthday celebration and Strong Southern Women show, all Strong Southern Women performers, and it was an amazing night. Wanted you to have a chance to listen to it. I will let you know that due to some of their internal artistic contracts, the segments from Critical Crop Top, a really funny sketch comedy group here in town, are not included. Enjoy.
So that song, Crazy, penned by Willie Nelson, is probably the song most attached to Patsy Cline. It wasn't her only hit or necessarily her largest, but and it deals with love lost, love misplaced, a universal thing that everybody kind of feels at some point, but Patsy knew intimately. She was born in Winchester, Virginia in 1932, during the Depression. Her mother was a seamstress, Hilda was her name, and her father, well, he didn't stay around too long. So Hilda had 3 kids she had to take care of, and Patsy learned early that everybody's got to pull their weight. They were a blue-collar family, and she made it to the 8th grade, got her education, and then she helped out with the family. She worked in a drugstore. And she was lucky enough that the owner knew that she loved to sing. And if she needed to go to a talent show or she had a gig, we let her cut out early. And by 14, she was actually making a name for herself. You know, there's enough little pockets of talent shows and some radio shows. And she was kind of gathering a little bit of a following. She knew where she wanted to be. Meanwhile, she worked slaughtering chickens at a plant. She cleaned Greyhound buses. She worked, you know? So a lot of times people talk about her wearing pants, or dungarees as they call them. It was kind of offensive, but she knew that's what you wore when you came to work. She wasn't ashamed of it. So by 17, she actually showed up on the Opry stage, which sounds amazing by our standards, right? But you gotta understand, at the time, it was country western. It was not to the level that it is today of pop music. And she was a female in pretty much a boys' club. And the Opry stage, as wonderful as it is, and a great moment, wasn't the shrine it is today. It was another show. But she kept at it. She kept at it. She had grit. And by 20, she managed to go ahead and say, I'm professional. And she was making her living as a singer. And she wanted to sing everything. She loved country, but you think about the times, the 40s and the 50s, so much great jazz, so much great popular music. She'd sing it all. Around this time, she married Gerald Klein. And I don't know the backstory there. My guess is some of you know it much deeper, but they disagreed a little bit on what a woman of the 50s was supposed to be like and where they were. And she wanted to sing, and he thought homemaker would be a better career for her. So I think we all know how that ended up. She got her first gig, her first contract with 4-Star Records. And I can only imagine she was over the moon. You know, right around 20, 22, signed a deal. Probably didn't have an agent, because she could only sing country music. It limited her. She could only sing the musician or the songs that record had access to, those songs. And she was paid half the industry standard on her royalties. So she got 2.34%. You think about a song like Walkin', she wasn't doing so great on that. It wasn't fair. But she stuck to it. She played, she got better, she got bigger. 57, Arthur Godfrey had a show called Talent Scout on TV. Imagine that. 57. Now we've got 3 of them. It was the American Idol of the day. And I think you had to be nominated kind of by somebody, by a friend or some mysterious. Well, her mother had a different name because it was Hensley. Patsy moved on to Cline, so she nominated her daughter. actually introduced her, and Arthur Coffey was like, great, great, great. She didn't want to sing it, but Walkin' After Midnight was the song that they wanted her to sing. She said, okay. She won the competition, $10,000. Her label didn't even have it pressed. They went in, that was her first album. All of a sudden, Patsy had an album. And she made it. And from there, it just kept going on. She was a strong Southern woman. She knew what she wanted. She knew where she wanted to be. And people at that time would tell you, you weren't going to deny her. And there's something to be said about that. In these days we have currently, as a society and as a culture and politically, there's so much going on with Me Too movements and with political unrest and with personalities that need to be brought up, and there needs to be more of a level playing field. She was, at that time, kicking down doors for people. And we're still kicking them down. So I'm excited that you're all here tonight for this Patsy Cline tribute as well as the Strong Southern Woman show. What I would say is that we've got an election cycle coming up, and whatever your choices are, that's on you. What I would say is that you might want to consider, if you have two candidates that seem equitable or you don't know either way, one's a woman, one's a man, maybe consider the female.
Yeah.
All right? I appreciate you coming out tonight. This is a live show. I do a weekly podcast, goodgraciousshow.com. You can find everything. You can get signed up to get the newsletter when everything's going on. Got an amazing lineup of folks tonight, and a lot of them. So, very excited. And I want to share these beautiful people with you. The first folks we're going to have come up are called Octave Atlanta. All right, please give them a round of applause. Is the other mic on, or do I need to turn it? Hey, this is Kelly. I just wanted to tell you what they're about. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Sales pitch.
We're Octave. We are obviously an all-female, strong Southern women a cappella group based here in Atlanta. We are lawyers and pharmacists and executives, producers, moms, you name it. So we all have other jobs. We just do this for love of music. We rehearse once a week and we perform all over. So we have a couple songs for you, and we hope you enjoy it.
Sending mid waves and emotion.
Platten, one of the great singer-songwriters of the modern day. Certainly people like Patsy broke down those doors for her. The next song we would love to perform for you guys is by a contemporary country western artist, more of a crossover pop artist, but you know, Patsy charted on country as well as pop, so I'm certain that Miss Sarah Evans would name Patsy as an influence.
I've been telling my dreams to the scarecrow about places that I'd like to see. I said, friend, do you think you'll ever get there? Oh, my piano stands like smiling back at me. So I confess my sins to the preacher about the love I've been praying to find. Is there a brown eye going in my future? Jesus, well, you've got nothing but time. But how do you wait for heaven? And who has that much time? And how do you keep your feet on the ground when you know open up our door? You're born to fly. So I will soar away like a blackbird. I will float on the wind like a sea. I will plant my heart in the garden of my dreams, and I'll grow where I want, wild and free. But how do you wait for heaven? And who has that much time? And how do you keep your feet on the ground when you know open up our door? You were born, yeah, you were born to and how do you keep your feet on the ground when you know open up your door? You're born to fly. You were born to fly.
All right, Oscar for Diana. Beautiful singer. So who can tell me how many albums Patsy Cline recorded during her lifetime? Anybody? Hand. Got an idea? 3. The woman was a professional for 10 years. She recorded 3 albums. But somehow, all those independent records, she did for 4-star, kept coming back. Amazing, isn't it? The things you learn coming here to Good Gracious. This is Lexi Street, everybody. Lexi, please come up.
You are excellent. Well, maybe I was just trying to make him feel good. How y'all doing tonight? I have 3 songs for you this evening, and then I'm going to start off with the first one, and then I'm going to get to my little anecdote about Patsy Cline. Play a Patsy Cline song for you, and then I'm going to round it up with a song that, for me, encompasses female power. I wrote this for a friend of mine who, in the second half of his life, decides he wants to become a filmmaker. It's called Panorama.
places you'll go. I'm gonna take you so very far from where we are. So wait right there, let me get my camera. I won't shoot it all, panorama. We'll be good, and it will feel alright. Spending a day chasing daylight. I won't be a movie picture maker, make superheroes and superstars. You know the faces you'll know, hanging at the places they go. Want you by lightning in a jar. So wait right there, let me get my camera. I won't shoot it all, panorama. We'll be good and dress real smart. Use big words and talk about art. So wait right there, let me get my camera. I won't shoot it all, panorama. And the girls get prettier, and the boys get grittier. We'll be good, and it will feel alright. Spending the days living in the limelight. We'll be good, and it will feel alright. Spending the day chasing the stars in the sky. So wait, so wait. I won't be a movie picture maker and capture all the stars and make all ours. Thank you. I am a musician around Atlanta, and you can, if you'd like to get on my email list, I promise not to spam you a lot, only with the shows every couple of days. As a matter of fact, to the detriment of most musicians, we don't send mailers enough. We are terrible promoters. But you can meet me after the show and you can just come talk to me and I'll save your email and I'll stick it on my thing. And that way I won't have to interpret your handwriting, because you are all not doctors. But all of you write like you're doctors. And I can't understand, like, thank you for your email address. You'll never receive an email from me. So this next Patsy Cline song is, it's actually Boyd's favorite Patsy Cline song. And that's how I chose it. And it's a short, sweet little ditty. I'm wearing shorts tonight. I guess I should thank Patsy Cline for that now that I've learned this about her. I do love that she wore pants. I'm over 40. I don't think I'll ever wear a mini skirt ever again. I think there's actually a law about it. And the fashion police might give me a ticket if I do. But they can't stop me from wearing shorts, and they're so comfortable, and I can do kicks like that, even if they're not very high. For rent, an empty heart. Just say the words and you can move right in. A long-term lease can be arranged, and you will never be alone again. I don't need no money, all that
guitar solo would come in. But I don't have my other guitarist with me here tonight, so we can just dream of Micah. He sounds good, doesn't he? I don't need no money, cause it don't last. Just lots of loving is all I ask. For rent, an empty heart. Just say the words and you can move right in. I was saving the best for last. I even shortened Patsy for you. So I'll move quickly. He asked us to say something about Patsy Cline and what she meant to me and our strong Southern women. I think all women around the world are strong. So just Southern women are strong, Northern women are strong. They're all amazing. And this is a song that's coming out in a film this fall called Interviewing Monsters. It's kind of a mockumentary. But it's about female empowerment, and that girls can do anything that boys can do just as good, sometimes better. You guys have a few things you can do better too. Great at changing tires. They call me Jamie after Jim, named after James before him. Everything I knew I learned from them. Like how to hunt, how to shoot, how to pick boys I thought were cute, and only fight the ones I can win. I like to drink just like you, to dirty jokes, smoke some too. I don't care for the color pink, won't judge if you do. And beer suits me fine, I prefer whiskey over wine, and I'd stand in the can if I didn't clean it too. So don't call me just a girl, you can sit on it and twirl. I can do anything that you can. I can be just as tough, so if you like girls a little bit rough, then baby, I'm your man. I like to swear and wear my boots. High heels give me the blues. There's nothing you can do that I can't. And I believe in pleasing man and phrases like yes we can. So don't tell me what I'm supposed to do. So don't call me just a girl, you can sit on it and twirl. I can do anything that you can. I can be just as tough, so if you like girls a little bit rough, then baby, I'm your man. So don't call me just a girl, you can sit on it and twirl. I can do anything that you can. I can be just as tough, so if you like girls a little bit rough, then baby, I'm your man.
Thank you. Lexi Street, everybody. Come on. Lexi's one of the very first podcast guests I had, and she may not remember that, but I've been dying to find a way to get her. You were one of the first podcast guests that I had.
Oh gosh.
You didn't even know that. Yeah. I showed up at her house and I got to see the kids and the house. It was awesome. So she's beautiful. Lexi Street. Thank you. All right. Okay. Who wants some trivia? Couple tickets here. Let's see. Who can tell me who wrote Sweet Dreams? Patsy Cline recorded it. Anybody know? See, everybody thinks all these musicians like write this stuff. If they did, they'd all be rich. My mother is not even raising her hand, so I am so disappointed. Don Gibson? Don Gibson. And then Fair and Young covered it too. Both of them did all right, but Patsy kind of stole it. Kind of took it. That's what she does. She takes stuff. So, our next guest is a wonderful local author, activist, instigator. Her name is Nikkis Salcedo. Please, welcome Nicki.
I was supposed to tell you the story of why I'm a good Southern woman. I had prepared for this night. I put on my new dress. These are my favorite pearls. And I don't care that they came from Walmart on clearance. I never wear my real pearls, the ones that scratch up your teeth. Those are for special occasions, and honestly, my life isn't ever that special. You see, a few hours ago, my daughter found a dead bunny in our yard. I was supposed to be getting ready for tonight. I was supposed to be practicing my piece, and she, who will be 13 tomorrow, has cotillion tonight. What could be more Southern than that? So I said to her, we've both got to get ready. What do you want to do? There were still 2 live bunnies in the bushes near my front door. I am trying to raise my children to be good Southern people. I was not surprised when she chose the bunnies. She looked at me like flat-ironed hair be damned. I was less sure. I wanted to rehearse my piece. I wanted to be perfect, Southern, but the bunnies. I messaged a couple friends. One is a doctor of veterinary medicine and an infectious disease specialist at the CDC, because that's how Southern women roll. She was at Lenox with her daughter, also 13. She was just yards away from Neiman Marcus when she replied that she'd get the kitten milk and animal baby bottles and be right over. And she was. My friend Jenny is from Virginia, the birthplace of Patsy Cline. She has probably reached her arm into a horse's vagina. She has been on the forefront of the fight to eradicate the Ebola virus. 2.5 hours ago, she was at my kitchen table, bottle feeding an abandoned baby bunny. I am a good Southern woman, but people tell me I'm not. I'm an immigrant. This is my adopted home. I like cheap jewelry. I buy a new pair of shoes once every 5 years. I could tell you about fireflies and honeysuckles and sweet tea brewed in the sun. I know about all of these things. Instead, I will tell you that today, some strong Southern women saved some bunnies. I don't mind getting dirty, and I have seen things die. And I still put on my heels and my fake pearls, and my perfect story became this, unrehearsed and Southern. And when I am not strong, I at least try to be a little bit good. Thank you. I have a book of essays that just came out in August called In My Father's Shoes. If you're online, you can get a free version of my first book, Intersections, on Kindle and Nook. And I teach at the Decatur Writers Studio, so I have a class December 1st if you want to join me. Thanks.
All right, we have a wonderful trio coming up, but while they're getting set up and they're moving their equipment around, I want you to meet a new good friend of mine, David Hopkins, right? We got that right?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm going to tilt this up a little bit. And I'm going to give you a little bit of the backstory. So Dave's been to one of my shows probably, and maybe two. We'll pretend like it was two, like we're good, we're close. And he contacted me afterwards, and he said, hey man, we got this thing going on, and I got this idea. So honestly, this whole show is because of this maniac who said, hey, let's talk. And we went, we had a little, we shared, broke some bread, and he said, you know, September 8th is Patsy's birthday. Wouldn't it be cool to do a show that kind of worked around that? And I said, yeah, man, I'm in. And we talked about it, we had another meeting or two, right?
We did.
And then what happened, Dave, when I said, okay, let's put the rubber to the road here?
I went and got married like that.
Yeah! Good Southern woman took care of them at this point. I'm going to let Dave tell you what they do, though, real quick.
Thank you so much, Boyd. Welcome everybody. How's it going? So my name is David Hopkins. The lady over there in blue is my wife, Bailey. We love entertainment and we love cocktails. She's a bartender. I'm a musician of about 20 years. And we love all the stuff that we see in Atlanta. We love all the different venues, but we find there's like a niche that we're looking for. Some place that's a little quieter, some place that's a little more intimate, some place that you feel like you can go and kind of escape all the traffic, escape all the politics, and just kind of hang out. So we're in the process of developing a concept for a place just like that. We call it Maid Avail ATL. So for the past about 16, 18 months, we've been hosting a series of pop-ups, just to kind of introduce people to the idea and kind of test it out. So we've had all different kinds of musicians and comedians, writers, all different kinds of people come and perform. So we've decided that we really need to move towards actually making the bar. The pop-ups are great, but it takes a lot of time, and so we need to really make this thing happen. So we're having what we're calling the farewell to pop-ups. That was everybody laugh. Okay. Which is going to be a Hemingway-themed pop-up event. It's September 27th at Noni's, just across over here on Edgewood Ave. We're going to have a great singer out of Chattanooga named Lon Eldridge, who's like a 20s, 30s blues country old-time singer, and a gentleman named Mike Dawkins, who's kind of a known poet around the area, just was at AJC Book Festival a few weeks ago, and a couple of other surprises, some great Hemingway-esque stiff cocktails, so we'd love to see all of you. We put some flyers and some little business cards about our business over here on the table, so we'd love to see you. Thank you very much.
Folks, this is Friday Junior, all right? Everybody
I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, the landslide will bring it down. If you've got leaving on your mind, tell me now, get it over. Hurt me now, get it over. If you've got leaving on your mind, if there's a new love in your heart, tell me now, get it over. Hurt me now, get it over. If there's a new love in your heart, don't leave me here in a world filled with dreams that might happen. Hurt me now, get it over. I may learn to love If there's a new love in your heart, tell me now, get it over. Hurt me now, get it over. If you've got leaving in your mind, hurt me now, get it over. If there's a new love in your So the next song we're gonna do was also released in the same decade as "Leaving on Your Mind." "Leaving on Your Mind" was our Patsy Cline song, and just in case for those of you who don't know. And the next song we're gonna sing is also released in that same decade, also by another very strong woman. And the story behind this song I think is pretty incredible. When I was reading up on the history of it, the music producer was literally driving down the street on Broadway and happened to see Carole King and her husband walking down the street, rolled the window down and said, "Hey, so-and-so needs a hit. How about writing a song called A Natural Woman?" Carole King and her husband went home that night, put their children to bed, which many of us can relate to, and wrote, "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman."
feel so inspired. And when I knew I had to face another day, Lord, it made me feel so tired. Before the day I met you, life was so unkind, but you're the key to my peace of mind. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. When my soul was in the lost and found, oh, you came along to claim it. I didn't know what was wrong with me until your kiss held me naked. Now I'm no longer doubtful of what I'm living for. 'Cause if I make you happy, I don't need to do more. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. Oh, baby, what you done to me? What you done to me? Oh, it made me feel so good inside. Oh, I just wanna be close to you. You make me feel so alive. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. You make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. You make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. You make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman.
That was amazing. That was beautiful. I feel like a natural woman again. Finally! Jiminy Cricket, I needed something to do it right. All right, our next guest is a wonderful person, Lane Pease from Kate's Club. If any of you don't know about Kate's Club, I'm going to let her share the amazing work they do here in town.
Hi, everyone. Kids Club is an Atlanta-based nonprofit that was founded 15 years ago by another strong Southern woman, Kate Atwood, who had lost her mother to cancer when she was 12 years old. So when she was only 23 years old, she had this idea of what did I need as a child experiencing this loss. And she realized she needed to meet other kids that were going through the same thing. So she started with just doing recreational groups, and the first group had 6 kids at it, and she took them around to do fun outings. Well, in the past 15 years, we grew and knew not just what kids wanted to do, but what they needed, and we added more therapeutic activities, so we were really social, recreational, and therapeutic. We served 491 children last year in our clubhouse services. We served about 28 schools with and about 160 kids in school groups. last year. So we really do stuff inside our clubhouse and outside. We know that in Georgia now there's 1 in 13 children that will lose a parent or sibling by the time they're 18 years old. And so we serve children 5 to 18 who experience the death of a parent, sibling, or a primary caregiver. It's 1 in 15 nationally, it's 1 in 13 here in Georgia. So we know that there's a need. We're really the only nonprofit like us doing the year-round continual activities. So we have monthly clubhouse programs, we have outings, we have a camp we go to, we have family support groups, we have a traumatic loss group, we have all kinds of things going on throughout the year. We do holiday programs, so at Mother's Day, Father's Day, Siblings Day, and those holidays are so difficult for children who've experienced those losses. We do things with them. But the greatest thing I think we offer is connection to children who feel different and feel like they're the only ones going through this. They meet a lot of other children who do. We have about 200 active volunteers who give their time every month, so much time, because they feel a connection with us. And about 70% of our volunteers probably experienced a loss as a child or a young adult. And so we couldn't do it without them, and we're 100% free for our families. So we really run on donations. If you want to get more information, I left some brochures out at the front. And one reason connection we're here tonight is Patsy Cline died in a plane crash and left children. So there is a connection there as well as with our founder and all the women and men that work really hard to make Kate's Club what it is.
Thank you very much. Dwayne from Kate's Club. They're always looking for volunteers. They're always looking for ways to help more. So if you want to get involved, please do. It's important that we give back to the community. One thing I kind of wanted to throw out here. Does anybody, we were talking about politics earlier, I think. Oh, that's right, it was me. Anybody know how many females are in the Senate in our country? Not enough doesn't help you so much. Did somebody say 23? Because that's the exact number. 23 in the Senate. So you have 23% in the Senate. How about how many in the House? Ballpark? 84. So they're at 19%. So you've got 19% representation in the House. You got 23 there. I find those numbers, as long as we've been working on it, kind of surprising, because I don't look at them too often. But what I did learn from that was the first senator, who's female, is from what state? Georgia. 1922. She only served 1 day. But we'll take it, right? Took 10 years before an elected senator from the state of Arkansas, another southern woman, came about. Just something to think about. Just put it back there in your brain. That's all I'm saying. All right, so I have a very wonderful musical guest from Nashville, Tennessee, joining us tonight. Kyshona Armstrong is here to regale us. I'm not going to throw any more trivia at you because nobody seems really interested in it. I know, I thought it'd be fun, but nobody's raising their hand. But that's okay. The important thing is you're here and you're captive. So, I'm enjoying this. But Kyshona's going to tune up. Do you have a new? What's going on with you, Kyshona, music-wise? You can come visit the table afterwards. You can visit any of these folks. Some of them will stand around and talk to you, hand out information. Want to make this taller?
Yeah, I can do this too. Don't give it up, boy.
Just put together last night. I met him, I think, through social media. And then he had me come out into an episode of his podcast. And I'm always following him to see what these events are about, so it's an honor to be here. So I used to live here in Atlanta. I was here for a long time. I was a music therapist I was at Emory Hospital, and I was working at Georgia Regional Hospital on their adolescent and for Ritzy units, and I was always finding people at rock bottom. And it takes a lot of grace from others for them to let this woman walk in with a crate full of drums and shakers, and tambourines, and say, "Hey, you ready for music?" This song is called Burning Sound.
Now
Thanks for singing, it makes me happy. So I was introduced to Patsy Cline through music therapy. I was playing in a nursing home, a fancy one, down in Buckhead. It was a high rise. You walked in and there was like this huge chandelier just in the foyer with a grand piano. And I was like, I don't know if I know the music of these people now. Sure enough, they started making requests, and I got several requests for Patsy Cline. I only knew Tennessee Waltz at the moment, at that time. And then I had to learn this one. Hope I can remember all the words. I go out walking after midnight, out in the moonlight, just like we used to do. I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you. I walk the miles along the highway. Well, that's just my way of saying I love you. I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you. Start to see the weeping willow crying on his pillow, or maybe he's crying for me. But as the stars turn gloomy, a night wind whispered to me, I'm lonesome as I can be. I go out walking after midnight, out in the starlight, just hoping you may be somewhere out walking after midnight, searching for me. Y'all help me with this part. I start to see a weeping willow crying on his pillow. Maybe he's crying for me. But as the stars turn gloomy, a night wind whispered to me, I'm lonesome as I can be. I go out walking after midnight, out in the moonlight, just hoping you may be somewhere out walking after midnight, searching for me. I go out walking after midnight, out in the sunlight, just hoping you may be somewhere out walking after midnight, searching for me. I went down a deep Patsy Cline hole after I learned that one. I was like, she writes my truth. Thanks so much, guys, for being here tonight to celebrate Miss Cline and to support the Good Gracious Show. I want to call it so many things. I got a little note from while back saying he added this song to a playlist, right, of yours? So I thought, I'll do it. It's telling of the times. Y'all, if we can all remember, I think we could get along in life if we can all remember this one thing, which I think this room gets, that no matter how different we look, how different our beliefs, what we believe, how different we love, who we love, how we love, if you cut us deep, we all bleed the same color. If we can remember that as we walk these streets and try to live our lives together, we could get pretty far. Oh, man wants, he's waiting in the middle, trying to wash his hands free of the blood and the pain. Gotta tell his children why we kill each other, how after 2,000 years we still live this way. In the home of the brave, in the land of the free. If you're telling the truth, you got enemies. But it don't matter what you believe in, no. We all bleed the same blood. We all bleed the same blood, same blood. We all bleed the same blood, same blood.